watching the Channel M Breakfast Show on Tuesday, the 14th of April. I'm Michelle Eagleton.
And I'm Phil Trow. This morning we've been asking you to sum up your Easter break in 3 words. Morning to Sue and family. They say their 3 words: a motorway destination in Manchester. We drove from Devon to Manchester. We stayed at Old Trafford Cricket Lodge, which was very nice. Enjoyed 30 laps of the Trafford Centre, you mad badgers. Visited Channel M, where you are. And we saw Manchester City die on their backsides on Sunday. But the gravy and chips at Greymare Lane was fantastic. Great weekend. We will see you soon. Glad to know you had a good weekend.
Oh, that's
there is a lot of love in the studio at the moment, isn't there?
There is.
Not for us two. Oh, no. But for these two.
Our
Look,
furry
this
friends.
is little Dougie and little Charlie. The penguin, how sweet are these? We're going to find out a little bit more about them in a couple of moments' time. I'm suddenly feeling a Ross from Friends moment. Do you know, with the little monkey? He's so cute, isn't he?
Absolutely gorgeous. Now, they're going to be at the Arndale Centre later on, and we are going to be talking a bit more about wild things and the tour that's going on. Oh, Charlie's loving the papers there. You're right.
He's so cute, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to try and smuggle them home with me. Do you think I can?
I think you'd look a little bit obvious, actually, with a penguin under your coat, if I'm entirely honest.
Shame.
Yeah. We'll find out more about them in a couple of moments' time. First, though, let's bring you the latest sports headlines and also the latest news with James Webster.
Good morning. Let's take a look at Tuesday morning's headlines for you. Ambulance staff have had to abandon their vehicle in Manchester and run to a call-out on foot after their vehicle got stuck behind the city's notorious rising bollards. They were trying to get along Corporation Street to access the Arndale Centre, but repeated efforts to get the bollards to lower wouldn't work. Medics were trying to get to a tanning salon where a woman had collapsed, but ended up taking a detour around several other streets to try from the other direction. Once there, those bollards wouldn't go down either, though they were still letting buses through. A council is now demanding action before someone dies. Check out more pictures of what happened at channelm.co.uk. Greater Manchester is having to spend almost £4.5 million every year dealing with chip pan fires. Figures obtained by Channel M show that's how much the damage from more than 300 such blazes costs to put right, as well as the cost of 999 crews dealing with the call-outs. It's despite several high-profile campaigns calling for people to throw the pans away.
When they're left unattended or accidentally left on, and then obviously the rise in the heat within the oil and it reaches an ignition temperature, that's when it becomes extremely dangerous. In that situation, take yourself out of the property immediately, close the door behind you, call us out and stay out of the property. Under no circumstances would we recommend anybody tackle a fire involving a chip pan.
Phil Spector has been convicted in Los Angeles of murdering the actress Lana Clarkson. The music producer, who's now 68, will face a prison sentence of at least 15 years after being found guilty of shooting her in the mouth at his mansion 6 years ago. His lawyer says he will appeal. Manchester has been named in the top 10 places to be hardest hit by job losses during the recession. An extra 5,000 people were claiming job seekers allowance in February compared to a year ago. Researchers say the problems have been felt most deeply in areas associated with traditional manufacturing, which haven't fully recovered from the last recession. The son of Johnny Roadhouse has been paying tribute to his father, who died at the weekend at the age of 88. The Manchester music legend set up a shop on Oxford Road half a century ago, which still carries his name now.
When he played at Elton John's wedding to Renata, he was there, he played at that gig, which was a big gig for him. He's got the photographs for that, very proud of them. And also, when he played at the wedding when he also married David Furness a few years later, which is quite an interesting situation. He married a woman, then he married a man. He was at those. It was a massive ceremony, the wigs and the whole ceremony. He loved that one.
Almost £95,000 of money seized from criminals is being handed back to police here in Greater Manchester. It's from assets that were recovered in the final 3 months of last year. Across the country, £5.5 million is being shared out, with another £25 million being given to prosecutors, courts and other agencies. A jeweller from Littleborough has started a course teaching couples how to make their own wedding rings from old family heirlooms. She's come up with the idea to help them beat the recession. I've been along to find out how it works.
If you've got kind of like Granny's old, wedding ring lying in a drawer somewhere that, it's been handed down, but you don't wear it because it's not your sort of thing, or any odd bits, then they can be melted down and put together, and it saves you the cost of actually paying for that. It can be as intricate as they want it to be, or it can be quite plain. If it's just a plain wedding ring that's kind of, say, a D shape or slightly inlaid or something like that, they can do that in a day.
The rings can eat up a large part of your wedding budget, which is where the idea of taking something old and transforming it into something new came from.
It doesn't matter if you've got sort of like broken chains or odd earrings and things like that, they can be melted down. We put the metal into a charcoal block that's got a hole kind of carved out, melt the metal down so it just becomes like an ingot shape, and then start to roll it through the rolling mill to make sheet wire or kind of like square section wire that can be made into rings. And it has to be annealed and things like that. That's heating it up to red and quenching to sort of relax the metal. It is a very precious thing to do. You know, people have a lot of attachment to jewellery. A lot of, you know, sentimentality goes with it. But at least they know that when they come here and they're melting it down and, you know, they're actually doing the whole thing, they know that their metal's in the final piece. When people sort of see the finished piece at the end, it's kind of like eyes light up and big smile on the face, and that's it. You know, it's just a really good experience. Yeah, lots and lots of good comments.
That's the latest. I'll be back with more in the Channel M lunchtime news at 12 noon, and join Nina from 5 o'clock tonight for all the day's main headlines. Now, though, here's the sport with Phil and Mike.
You know, I watched far too much sport this weekend, but fortunately it was all good. The newspapers, first of all, today with Mike, reflecting on a busy weekend of sport and looking ahead, really, aren't they?
Yeah, a couple of rumours this morning, interesting ones. Hull manager Phil Brown, he's hopeful. He's got Angolan striker Manucho on loan, as we say, from Manchester United. He's hopeful of taking him for the rest of the season and on a permanent basis. That's going to cost him £750,000. So maybe my advice to Phil Brown would be, let's wait and see which division you're in next season before splashing out almost £1 million on someone like that. And interesting news from the City of Manchester Stadium. Khaldoon Al-Mubarak, the new City chairman, has flown in primarily to watch the team play on Thursday to see if they can overturn that 3-1 first leg deficit against Hamburg, but also to see just how much support Mark Hughes has among the fans. And that will determine, we believe, although The Guardian are running the story this morning, whether Mark Hughes will stay or go at the end of the season.
I've just got this marvellous impression now of him stood outside with a clipboard with a line down it saying yes and no, and going round asking the fans and ticking each side.
Be a good way to do it.
It would, wouldn't it?
I know where the majority of ticks would go.
Really? Be interesting to know. Let's look at the weekend's results first of all. Well, yesterday, because of course no Premier League yesterday, but plenty happening in the leagues.
Yeah, a couple of our teams involved in League One action yesterday. Let's take a quick look at how they got on. Oldham drew 1-1 against Crewe. They were heading for their first win under Joe Royle, but denied a last-minute equaliser by Crewe. Oldham slipped to 10th, and now it is impossible for them to reach the playoffs, so their season effectively over, unfortunately. As is Stockport County's. The good news is they scored their first goal for 9 hours of play. Greg Tansey scoring with 14 minutes remaining. However, Logan, the young keeper, scored a ridiculously bizarre own goal in the last minute to hand all 3 points to Walsall. Haas has dropped to 13th, and the rumours will not go away about Jim Gannon. We believe he is heading out of Edgeley Park, and we believe he is heading to the revolving door at Boundary Park.
I mean, I suppose the other thing about Jim Gannon is he's such an exciting new manager, isn't he, that there's probably teams higher up than League One looking at him at the
Absolutely.
moment.
Well, he'd also stay in the North West. That's why he turned down a job at Brighton. He's got a young family. They're quite happy in this area. I think he will go to Oldham. They're a club who could have a new backer, shall we say. We can't say too much about that over the summer. So there will be funds available to Jim should he go, something which has really plagued his career at Stockport County. And he couldn't even name enough substitutes for the game yesterday. He could only name 3 substitutes. So times are hard, and I think Jim has really taken that club as far as they could possibly go.
So Oldham and Stockport season's effectively over, but plenty of life still left in Bury and Rochdale seasons.
Yeah, in League Two, as you say, Bury and Rochdale, plenty to play for. The end of season jitters are coming in now. Bury could only manage a 2-2 draw at Darlington yesterday, and as a result, drop out of the automatic promotion places. They're only outside of those on goal difference, but at the moment they would rather be inside them. Morecambe beat Macclesfield 1-0. That's 12th home defeat for Macclesfield already this season, and the second worst defence in League Two. 73 goals conceded. And Rochdale, again, they can only manage a draw away at Shrewsbury. 1-0, Dagnall scoring with 27 minutes remaining. They're in 5th now, 2 points behind 3rd place Wickham. Looking good for the end of season playoffs, and we think they could, if the teams stay the way they are, play Bury in the first leg playoffs.
And, you know, I felt a lot of sympathy for Luton this weekend because they were finally
unbelievable. I
relegated,
mean, to start a season with a 30-point reduction is just ridiculous. And they're penalising the team, the fans, the town. 8 to 9 year history, the famous club. I think they will come back, but it's ridiculous, isn't it, to start off with minus 30. So sadly relegated already.
Back with football in a couple of moments' time. Let's just turn our attentions to Rugby League and the weekend's results.
Yeah, unbelievable result for Salford City Reds. Only their first win at Headingley against Leeds in 32 years. 30 points to 20 they win, as a result up to 11th. But Brian Noble waking up an unhappy man this morning at Wigan. He's promised wholesale changes on the pitch. Wigan down to 9th as a result of the 40-24 defeat against the Catalan Dragons. And it's quite bizarre there, Phil. Early on in the season, Brian Noble was being tipped as the great redeemer, and Sean McRae at Salford City Reds as the bad boy. And how quickly, you know, 2 wins have changed Salford City's season around, and he's now being hailed as the great survivor. Whereas Brian Noble is expecting a brown envelope any time now with his P45 in it.
Yeah, well done to Salford. Let's just bring you some action from the weekend. It was nice and sunny in Hyde yesterday.
It was nice and sunny in Hyde. Blue Square Premier, big Easter weekend derby against Royalston. Here's how the game panned out.
Good cross. Here's Gray. It's in. Long it goes. Route 1 stuff looking for Gray if he can get there, which he does. And Royalston have that extra little bit of daylight now. Pringle just wants to time his run. Here he is. Dougie Pringle, men in the middle. It's in the net. It's an own goal from Newton.
I said that it's our 4th game in 6 days. I mean, it's just phenomenal, really. I mean, we've had to use every single person available to us. It was always going to be difficult because he's obviously we knew he was up for a game because the position they're in, you know, fighting against relegation. So it's always difficult. It's going to be a battle. The pitch wasn't the best I've seen it, to be honest. So he was going to battle. But we tried to play football where we could. I thought we controlled most of the game. They had a little spell, 10-minute spell, 15-minute spell, which you expect. Sat them off a little bit too much, used the subs where I possibly could, and I thought overall we dominated the game really from start to finish.
Fitzpatrick. Is it taken late? Patterson maybe this time! Yes!
Look, we've got a streaker on the pitch.
He's allowed, he can stay.
He's a Newcastle fan. It's amazing what a bit of fish can do.
Give him the fish.
They're all saying that I'm really mean now. Giving him. Would you like it?
Yes, he would.
There you go. Bless his heart. Just some news on tennis before we all go, and collapse in a heap.
Yeah, Andy Murray plays Victor Hanescu in the Monte Carlo Masters today, looking to get through to the 3rd round for the first time in his career at Monte Carlo. He's only in the 2nd round, Phil, because he got a bye in the 1st round because he is the number 4 seed. Big game tonight, which we haven't discussed because it's Liverpool against Chelsea. We don't like discussing Liverpool. Unfortunately, they're 3-1 down, and I do think they will win at Stamford Bridge, but not enough to go through.
Do you know, it's the first time I've had this sort of attention from a bird for a long time. But he's off now.
Ever.
He's going off for Mike.
I've got no fish.
Cheers, Mike. Coming up then, we have animals galore, as you probably noticed. Michelle is going horse riding. Plus, we'll find out why the penguin and the monkey are in the studio today and why they're going to be descending on Manchester Arndale a little bit later. Ooh, nice shoes, Mike. We'll see you in a couple of minutes' time.